Kane, it's 1-0. Fucking down. 13th in the championship. The takeover happened, as I said it would. People will be... Oh, when have we got Leeds? Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Your Football Show. And like War Piglet says, it has been a while. Lives have conspired against us over recent weeks, but we're back. It's the middle of the month, so we can talk about transfers, incoming or lack of, and of course catch up with the lads and find out how their season's going to go and what the thoughts are ahead of the weekend.
It was a while, mate. Huddersfield and Rotherham had won a game and you deliberately didn't do a show. That never happens, mate. And I think Leeds had got beat. I think you'd lost Preston, mate, but amazingly there was no show. But now all of a sudden Leeds are back and Rotherham still can't win a game, and I don't talk about also. Yeah, let's get a show on. I know your tactics, Joe.
I promise you. It's not. Costy, it's great to have you back. We haven't had you back for a while. See, if we could count on you being here every week, then the show might be on.
Oh, here we go. Turn it around. Sorry. Your turn, Joe. I know, mate.
Are you all good?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Good, mate. It's been a weird kind of transfer window, hasn't it? It's January ones. Do you remember that one when Andy Carroll went for like 38 million and there was stuff flying left, right, and centre, but they just seem to be getting tamer and tamer now, don't they? You know, top clubs don't piss about, do they, in this window? Desperate clubs like Huddersfield, they're always trying to do stuff. I think if you've got your house in order, you're not bothered really in this window. You're a bit like Fark. I don't see much business happening at Leeds, to be honest, mate.
No, we need a couple of fullbacks, and I think we'll get them on loan. I think Ryan Giles has been linked, and Connor Roberts and a few others, but I don't think we'll go wild, to be honest.
What about that Carvalho guy, Joe? When are you supposed to sign for Leeds?
Go on, Ant, talk to us. You must be buzzing with that, mate, by the
way. He's the kind of signing we shouldn't be making. It's quite mad, actually, how we got him out. Like, especially with the rumours when it first came about, you're thinking, nah, surely not. I think Wolves were in for him in the Premier League. Fulham, obviously, we played for before, were in for him, and then you had your big guns in this league, your Leicester, Southampton, Leeds. They were all in for him. So it's just like, well, how on earth are we going to even stand a chance? But yeah, somehow we've got him. It just must be down to the owner's charisma. He's got a gift of the gab, and he can just convince people to sign for little old unfashionable Hull City. So yeah, here he is, and hopefully he delivers.
I put it down to the fact that your team's that poor that he'll get minutes at your place. He'd have to work for minutes at our place. But no, you moved on Scott Twine as a byproduct of that, though, I believe, right?
Yeah, I think it's looking that way because Twine's best position was that number 10, and we've sort of just done what we always do every year and just sort of inundated our squad with number 10s. Not enough wingers. Twine was just not effective enough out wide, and we just didn't see the best of him, man. He was a hype signing, and he never really lived up to it. So he wasn't going to get any game minutes as soon as we signed Carvalho because of the competition in that place. You had Adama Traore, Ozan Tufan, Fabio Carvalho now was probably going to play every game. He didn't really stand a chance, so I can understand why they recalled him and sent him away because obviously he worked with Man in at MK Dons, didn't he?
Yeah, no, it makes, like you say, it makes perfect sense. I don't know if your missus in the chat, mate, but someone keeps saying, "Oh, you look mint. Don't you think Ant looks banging?" So I don't know if that's either your missus or someone on the wind-up, bro.
It would be my missus. She'd be saying the opposite.
It's that Kappa gear, Joe. That Kappa gear that you still miss at Leeds, mate. You're just jealous because you haven't got Kappa anymore.
Hey, it's gold dust, this stuff, you know. People were buying them and then selling them for about 800 quid.
Yeah, you must go to the gym to fit into that stuff, or has it changed since back in the day?
No, you have to just go a couple of sizes bigger.
This is the best, lads. Look at this. The North is ours marching on together. There's a bit of toothpaste on it, but there you go. That's a banger. Great stuff. So, and you brought in Carvalho, really sharp. Has he played any minutes yet?
Yeah, he played. He came on as for his debut in the Cup against Birmingham, I believe, and then he came on against Norwich because Connolly got absolutely flatlined by their goalkeeper, and he had to come on quite early. And then obviously he had to play. He's actually our only natural fit striker at the minute because Delap's out for 3 months. Connolly's out for 3 weeks on concussion protocol. So he's going to get more minutes than he expected, I think. 37-year-old Billy Sharp.
Are you happy about that, or do you still? Because I know you were a bit unsure on the deal. I mean, I was advocate bringing him in at Leeds, to be honest, but now Bamford's turned into R9 scoring wonder strikes in the FA Cup. We don't need him anymore, do we?
Yeah, it was a weird one because when you're bringing in a 37-year-old player that obviously throughout his career has scored a lot of goals, his quality is undoubted. But when you get to that stage of his career, you know, you're thinking, can he still do it at this level, especially? And he only scored, I think, 2 goals in his last championship season for Sheffield United, and obviously went to the MLS where he's done well. But the championship's just a whole different ballpark. And I think on paper we brought him in, like I said before, for his off the field influence in terms of if we get to the end of the season, we're in a run in. He's been there, done that before. He's got that experience and he can guide the young squad that we've got. But I don't like the idea that we brought him in to improve the likes of Delap and them, because they're not our players. So at the end of the day, he's going to come in, improve them. They're going to go back to Man City, a more complete finisher. And if we stay down, it's done us no good whatsoever. But no, let's see what he does. You know, if he gets his quality's in the box, we just need to improve on our final ball, which is the big problem at the minute, and obviously get the ball to him.
Yeah, no, for sure. People are asking where Ash is. Yeah, unfortunately, he couldn't make tonight, folks. I don't know why, but yeah, hopefully everything's good at his end. But he'll be back. He will be back. Right, Kossi, I'm going to come to you because I want to talk about Huddersfield Town. Obviously, you brought in Alex Matos on loan. You were mentioning just before we went live, you brought in a centre back. How is the business decent? Have you seen out of Matos yet? Are you confident you'll get more? And you were speaking, you spent over $1 million, which, you know, is big bucks. So, you know, are you happy? I know the fans are, but how are you?
Yeah, we need numbers. There's been just injury after injury that as well. Yeah, Akanji saw Matos, mate, in that cup game, and yeah, he injured him and he had to come off, and I don't think Guardiola were happy. So that was his first game, really, when he came in and flew about the place, putting himself about, and he did it last week, to be honest with you, Joan. And really, we were lucky to get the goal. I don't know if you've ever seen any footage, but basically, he took he's almost like Roy Keane back in there, just sprinting about, and yeah, he went in late on someone, but luckily referee missed it, and came out to Karoma after a through ball from Thomas, and we scored. But that's Premier League; it's getting called back. So the guy, his energy, the guy is hungry. But I mean, it's only one game, and you know, a little bit of a game at the end. I think he had 70 minutes there, but his creativity we need, mate, and he just looks like a guy to me who's. I mean, I think he obviously can play on the wing, but from what I've seen so far, again, he just looks like kind of a guy who's going to win a few tackles and set someone up. So, yeah, the big worry is just goals for us, Joe. It was such a morale-sapping draw last week because Plymouth Argyle were awful, mate. They were there for the taking. I think people were getting carted out of the ground because others should have had 62% possession. So, well, it doesn't matter if you're not doing well with it, Joe. It's like start of the season, we were not having any possession, obviously, under Warnock. But to me, all that possession thing's a load of bollocks, mate. It's all about the end product and about looking, threatening and stuff. And the second half, once we'd equalised, was such a damp squib. And Plymouth were quite happy just to sit back for a point because obviously they've got a little bit of a gap for us. So, and you're going away thinking from that, mate, if we can't beat them. But I mean, one of the biggest problems that we had, and we just seem to be one of those unlucky seasons. But Bojan Radulovic, our new striker, who came on.
Say that again. Sorry, I missed that. What was his
name? Radulovic. God, he got injured in training, unbelievable. So he played at Man City for 20 minutes, and then he got injured. This was the game really we wanted because he looked quite good against City in against obviously as good as you can look against that team. But and you're thinking, yeah, at last we've got a striker because that's the only fit striker we've got, Joe. And unbelievable. There were rumours going around on Friday that he got injured in training, and lo and behold, when the teams came out at 2:00, he wasn't in, and probably got a groin injury. Honestly, mate, it's just unbelievable. So. Yeah, we desperately need another striker. Hopefully, he's fit for the weekend. Delamore's press conference, if anyone can be bothered to sit through it. But because, honestly, Joe, he's the most boring man in the history of football. The biggest problem I think a lot of the fans have is he just sends everyone to sleep. He's absolutely nothing, Joe. And I get we've been blessed with Neil Warnock. We love him or hate him, but mate, it's get to a stage where I just can't watch any pre-match stuff. Postman, you don't give me anything, mate. A guy I know is like for Radio Leeds. He asked him a good question last week. He said, massive 4 games now. You've got Plymouth, Blackburn, Queen's Parade, Sheffield Wednesday. This is it. They were just like, the next game's the most important. And I know you can say managers say that, but it was just cliche rubbish, mate. Cliche rubbish, and it just turns you off. And it's football. Honestly, Joe, it's just I can't believe that. He can, unless he's a different person away from the camera or in the training ground, but Darren Moore just boards everyone to death. I can't believe that you can sit there interviewing him and just think, yes, he is our man. I just can't, honestly. And that's one of the biggest things for me. But of course, obviously, some people say, well, if we were winning games, it wouldn't be so much of an issue. But Joe, I think if we lose at Blackburn, I think he could be gone, mate. I think it's that. But, I mean, he's nailed his colours to mass. I don't know if you saw the carry-on after the game, and Kevin Nagle tweeted it's not good enough in capitals. His owner's in town. He's been in for the month of January, and he's got his own X account or Twitter or whatever it's called now. And 2 minutes after the game, which, again, is it right, is it wrong? It's his train set, Joe, but in capitals, he just put not good enough with about 15 exclamation marks. So, of course, everyone's thinking, wow, is that it for Darren Moore? And Darren Moore's put on the spot then in an interview about 5 minutes after saying, look, your owner's tweeted, not good enough. And Darren Moore played it really well, to be fair. Yeah. It ain't good enough, blah, blah, blah. And then Kevin Nagle be doing some diaries like every day last week when he were with his right-hand man. And he kind of went on Twitter about 7 o'clock, kind of done a 6-minute diary saying, look, I need to... He kind of backtracked a little bit on what he'd done, and yeah, obviously it's great headlines. So I think Daily Mail got involved. The Sun, Huddersfield owner, blah blah blah. But we've seen it before, haven't we, with owners and social media, and Darren McAntony, I think, were the famous one. And it's the first time we've had foreign owners, Joe. And it's hard, isn't it? Because you're thinking you want some connection. Well, we were lucky we had DNR, local guy, Q&As, always coming to the games. This guy can only come every now and again. So how's he keeping in touch? Yeah, he could do the old through the club and an interview, but he's a bit radical, but he's a bit off the cuff, and I think the fans like him for that. He's a real character, mate. He went to Murgatroyd's last week for the first time ever, fish and chips. So that kind of got an air in, and little things like that will endear him to the fans. But as you know, Joe, it's all about winning games. But to be fair, we made the window. We've got that Matos in. Radulovic came in, and again, everything's undisclosed. I think that was 1.2. This guy that we've got, Radinho Bolka from Groningen, apparently he's a centre-back who can bring the ball out, which we don't have. And Tom Lee's struggled to bring it out. Pearson's injured. Other centre-back, Helic, our top scorer, mate. It's embarrassing, really. But, yeah, I've rattled on a bit, Joe, but the biggest frustration for me is Darren Moore is, 11 injuries. It's debatable how many of them would make a difference, mate. But do something different. Like, I know it sounds daft, but last week, mate, 5th Plymouth, we just finished. They were happy for a draw. We were creating nothing. Put Helic up front, mate. Do something different. All right. You've not got the tools you wanted, but don't just shrug your shoulders and then just like that's it. We've got injuries and stuff. Why not put Helic up front? They'd be like thinking, bloody hell, why not go a bit direct? I've had a lot of sympathy with him, mate. I think he's been dealt a horrible hand of cards. Yeah, the signings are coming in. There's talk, of a striker coming in from Watford, which is. A bit of an interesting one as well, because I've never really heard of him until I've looked back. I think the guy were at Cardiff is called Reece Healy. So I think he played in France for a little bit, but he's not featured under Ismail, and you're thinking that's a bit weird. Apparently, he's going to be up to 2 million, but apparently this guy's an old-fashioned kind of, a striker, just to score, really. I know it sounds daft, but we've got so many of them strikers who are just there to link play and, to do this and that. I think we missed a trip with Jordan Rhodes, mate. I think it was poor that, we didn't at least... You know what, mate? You could have brought him back for these 4 games. If we don't know if Radulovic is going to be fit for a massive game at Blackburn on Saturday, but if you get Rhodes at least, you might not be happy to come back, but you could loan him back. You could give him back to Blackpool after that once we've got us 2 men in. I mean, that game was massive on Saturday, mate, and on points, rubbish. He just piles the pressure on. I think we've got to go there and win on Saturday, and the signings are coming in. Is it going to be too late? But I honestly think, mate, if Blackburn beat us on Saturday, I think you could be getting the old corner flag tweet, mate, Sunday morning. The official communication, man.
Yeah, well, we'll wait and see. Listen, speaking from experience, owners and social media never bloody works. I mean, we had ours. You could always tell it'd normally be on an evening when he'd had a few wines and then he'd straight be on Twitter, you know what I mean? And it just
3 wins in 20, Joe. 3 wins in 20, mate. It's an hard sell, that, innit? That's shit, mate, innit?
100%. Yeah. No, you bang on. Before we go to Matt, folks, there is 195 people watching. If you haven't already, smash a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe to all these channels as well. Remember, the likes help the algorithm so more people can get eyes on this video. Matt, I've had a look. Obviously, Leeds United haven't had any incomings yet, and nor have you. Is there anything in the offing? Is the owner looking at it saying, do you know what, this season we're a bit way off? Do I really invest? I don't know how it works. So talk to me, mate.
Yeah, it's not looking great. Liam Richardson said at the start of the window that he wants about 5 players, and we're 18 days into the 0. So I don't know what the problem is. We always know that we've probably been quite far down the food chain in terms of transfers, but I'd have expected somebody in by now, at least one, maybe a loan from somewhere. We've still only got one fit centre back at the club, which again is staff. You need to get centre backs in. We don't play in the FA Cup next week, and then our games are rearranged. So after the Borough game, we don't have another game till the end of the window. So that plays into our hands a little bit, that we've got a little bit of time after Saturday to get somebody in. But we're desperate. We need a centre, at least probably 2 centre halves. We probably need a midfield, a couple of wingers. We need players in as soon as possible. We're not even filling bench still, and we're not making these transfers. It's dire. I don't know what today was brought in a director of football, promoted Smitty's director of football. So I don't know if that's impacted the work, because that's been going on internally, where that's maybe delayed something. It's good that we've done that, but if it's affecting transfers, it's not great. Do it in January, do it in February, or something like that. I don't know what they're doing there. It's odd. Fans are frustrated, as you'd expect. Bottom of the league, not making any signings. Fans are going to start getting annoyed about that, to be honest, understandably. I feel sorry for Richardson. Every game he's sort of getting asked questions, and he doesn't have any answers, obviously, because we're not signing anybody. It's feeling like a long old season. It feels like there's a long way to go and all.
Yeah, I bet as well. Like, just thinking sort of that resigned feeling, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Almost like end it now. But if he doesn't get any in at all, like it's not looking good, is it, mate? In terms of your prospects for the rest of the season.
If you don't get anybody else in, we're done. There's no two ways about that. I think at the minute it's pretty difficult. 8 points adrift. Huddersfield are thankfully dropping points left, right, and centre. That is helping us not get stupid. But yeah, if we don't get anybody in, we're done. We've got a couple of centre backs on the way back, but the injuries for every football team this season has been ridiculous. So by the time we get centre backs back, I'm sure somebody else will get injured. So we're just in this cycle. The squad's not big enough. We are 4 or 5 people short in terms of the overall squad. So yeah, if there's 0, we're done. We genuinely need 4 or 5 to stand a chance, to be honest with you. I think we need to be very busy in the next week and a half, whatever it is. Very busy.
Yeah, for sure. Surely these options at like top end of the championship you can take on loan. Like you took Hjelde before. Like I look at someone like Joe Gelhardt, for example. He could do with a loan lower down the league. We sent Darko JB on loan to Plymouth, and he played at the weekend and played really well. Surely there is options for you at the top end of it doesn't have to be Premier League, does it? Even the top end of the championship, you would hope.
You'd assume so. I do think, that the Asia Cup and the African Cup of Nations has not helped. So teams that may well have loaned out a player or two are actually thinking, I've got to wait at least a week or two. So that may have impacted us slightly. But that's me being kind, to be honest with you. There must be players available somewhere that want to come. And it's difficult to sell bottom of the league in it as well. Bottom of the league, 8 points. Do you want to come and play for us? Well, not really. But I go to Plymouth or whatever. That's certainly not helped.
Yeah, no, there is that, mate. Actually, Cossie, just while we were live there, a lad who comes on my show actually does some bits at your club through uni and whatnot. He does a bit. He's involved in the scouting in some sort of aspect. But he's messaged me to say, if you haven't spoke about him yet, tell him you have a top player in Bolker, much more suited to a possession-based football team, but he's very good on the ball with good football IQ. So there you go. Enjoy.
Yeah, we've not done that. Yeah, Joe, I'll tell you what, I know it's Yorkshire football show, but there's a team that's gone into the 6th spot, mate. And honestly, we talk about McKenna, being a great manager, and obviously Maresca, but for me, Mark Robbins, mate, is in the last 5 seasons been the most sensational manager, or the big exaggeration, but mate, when Danamo's first game, we burgled a point like 92nd minute. They were about 18th, 19th. They haven't won many games. But they'd lost, obviously, Gyökeres, who's absolutely ripping it up in Portugal, watching a lot of their games sporting. And they'd signed 5 new players. They'd lost some of the better players, mate, from last season. And I remember I did a bit of corporate that night, Joe. But the guy with the microphone says, be patient, guys. The new players have got a bed in. Look who's in 6th spot now, mate. What a run they've had. And honestly, mate, it's incredible, mate, what that guy's done there. Obviously, they weren't even in their own ground for a bit. And Coventry City, obviously their hearts broken last year. And you know as well as I do, mate, when you lose a playoff, Obviously, Huddersfield nearly went down next season. Coventry lost the Ben. Look at them there. What a job he's doing, mate. And then they beat Leicester last week. I know it's not the Midlands football show, mate, but I just want to say, Matt Robbins, what a manager, mate. He, honestly, Premier League, could he do it up at that level? I mean, obviously, with Huddersfield, it didn't kind of work out, but just massive respect for him, mate. And obviously, all on a bad run of form, Coventry on a good run of form. It's fascinating, isn't it? Just obviously, you know, it's going to be really interesting, obviously, see who gets in there with Leicester. You still think Leicester, don't you? And one other. But after that, Coventry have just kind of pushed up in there. Need to start winning again soon. But all of a sudden, it's incredible, isn't it? Between 6th and 11th is 2 points. What a league, eh? What a league.
It's mad. One thing for Coventry, I cannot stand that Callum hair. Just cannot stand his face. If I'm being totally honest, good player, but he just riles me. But you mentioned Hull City, then Cossie. So let's start there. Obviously, Friday night football away at the Stadium of Light. Cossie mentioned not in the best run of form of late. How are you feeling ahead of this one, Ant?
Not optimistic at the minute. I think it's similar to last season in the sense that whenever we get a good run going, we get like 2 or 3 injuries to key players in the system, and it just derails us completely. I mean, as soon as we lost Philogene, we knew we'd struggle, and then we've not had a fit left back all season. That's been a real issue. I still don't know why we haven't signed a left back. I mean, that should have been priority from day one in this transfer window. And then obviously we've lost Seri Tufan to AFCON. Delap's out for 3 months now. Scott Twine's gone back. It's just it seems like the season could fizzle out on the missing players in the last few runs. But when you look at it, we're still only a point outside the top 6, and we've got I think it's 4 wins in 10 in the league. So the fact that we're on a really bad run, which every team tends to have in a season, if ours has come now, Philogene is due back the game after Sunderland because we've got a week off, I believe, after the Sunderland game because of the FA Cup. So we will have Philogene back for the Millwall game after, and you kind of feel like we should have our signings and everybody sorted by then, and we should be able to kick on. But it just depends who we bring in this window. I mean, this is make or break for a top 6 chase for me. It's quite worrying that we brought in a 37-year-old striker and then a number 10 that's not played for the best part of 6 months, instead of the glaring issue, which is wingers and a left back. So yeah, we'll see who we bring in, but it is quite worrying at the minute. But like I say, we're only a point off the top 6, so a couple of good results and we're right back in it.
Yeah.
Joe, let me just go back. Joe, it's 3 points between 13th and 6th. Well, that is insane, mate, isn't it? 3. If you're 13th, you're 3 off playoffs. It's just incredible.
I'm convinced there's only 2 spots up for grabs as well. I think the top 4
5th and 6th.
Will. Yeah, I think.
Do you think West Brom? I mean, Carlos has done a job. That's a right shit show in the boardroom there. What a job he's done as well. There's some top managers there, Joe, and I think underrated gaffers. And it does annoy me when Premier League all they want to do is kind of bring guys in from abroad and stuff, but give them a chance. Do you know what I mean? Look what's happening at Wolves. What a job's O'Neill's doing. Why do we always want to go abroad? Just give Robin a chance. I suppose it's obviously everyone's just wanting foreign managers. There's some crackers we've got, God. Look at Rossini, and that could go either way still, that.
Yeah. I think he's a good manager, Rossini, really, to be fair. Costy, you're the prediction master on this one. You're the oracle. You seem to get them right most of the time. How do you see this one going on Friday night? I think it's a tough game for Hull. They're good at home, aren't they, Sunderland?
They are. And I know the Newcastle game, there was a cup game, and Newcastle, obviously, the riches that they've got, but I thought Sunderland were pretty poor in that. I know they tried to talk it up, did Beale. I'm not a big Beale fan, to be honest with you, Joe. I think it reminds me of someone in EastEnders, like a used car salesman to me, mate. Do you know what I mean? Just full of the chat. It didn't surprise me it didn't work out at Rangers as well, but yeah, it's going to be a tough game for all. Obviously, we're just reeling off there all the players that are missing as well. But I think 5 defeats out of 7 as well for Hull. But I don't know. I just think this could be a draw, really, and whether that's going to help any of the 2 teams, I'm not so sure. But it's I think it's going to warm up a bit in it tomorrow. It's going to be about 2 degrees higher. But yeah, it's. When I went to Sunderland with Huddersfield, Jesus Christ, you're on the moon up there, so you'll be directing planes in if you're going there tomorrow night. Yeah. But Yeah, I think it'll be a watchable game because both teams, I think, like to play nice football as well. But I think it'll be like 1-1.
It is freezing as well. It is freezing up north in general, isn't it, at the minute? So you'll have to wrap up. Matt, how do you see this one going for Hull City?
It'll be a close game. Obviously, Sunderland not settled really under Beale yet. When we played a bit around Christmas time, we were comfortably the better team against them. So they've got issues. I mean, we win, but that's Rotherham United, isn't it? So they're not settling under Beale. But Hull are really inconsistent. Their inconsistency is incredible, especially with the players they've got attacking wise. I'm surprised it's not injuries, obviously, like Lance just said. If Hull click, Hull win. I think it's as simple as that. But it's just not been clicking. So I'm going to go Cossey. I'll go copy Cossey and go 1-1.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a draw as well, to be honest. Didn't want to. I'll go 2-2 just because you two have gone 1-1. How do you see it going? Are you going, mate? Are you making the travel up?
No, I'm not going. I've got my kids this weekend, so I've got to go pick them up tomorrow night. But I'm not optimistic, but I mean, it's one of those. All our goals currently just aren't in the squad. Like Delap, he's injured. Philogene injured, and then Connolly's also injured. So that's like 20 odd goals between the three of them that we're missing. There's only really Ozan Tufan in the squad there that's been scoring goals. I think Scott Twine was our fourth top scorer, and now he's gone back. So there's not many goals in the squad. I mean, Cavalier is a creative player. Whether or not he's going to add a lot of goals to his game is obviously yet to see. But it's about getting that ball in the box for a Billy Sharp chance. I just think that Sunderland will have the majority of the ball. I think they'll have the majority of the chances because we're so unbalanced at the minute. Square pegs in round holes all over the pitch. So I think what we've got to try and do is take advantage of the current toxicity at Sunderland because they really do not like their manager. And I think if we can sort of either get an early goal or try and get on top with the period at the beginning of the game, I think the atmosphere will work in our favour and try and take advantage from that. But other than that, I'm not really that optimistic. So I did say 1-1 on my preview yesterday, but now it's been confirmed that Connolly's not playing either. I think I might change it to a 2-1 Sunderland.
Wow.
Yeah, we just don't keep clean sheets, and I don't think we've got enough goals in the squad at the minute until we bring in another couple of players. I don't think.
Obviously, we're still relatively new into the year 2024. Do you think the end of the season sees you in the playoffs? Currently sat in 9th. I mean, it is tight, isn't it? Like Cossey says.
It is tight. Like I said, I think with us, it entirely depends on the next couple of weeks with this window. We desperately need to fill the gaps in the squad that are making us so unbalanced. I think the fact of the injuries that we've had this season and the way that we've not really had a fit left back, we put all of our eggs in the Ruben Vinagre basket, and he's been an absolute basket case since we signed him. I have no idea why we haven't sent him back yet. He's still here just collecting a wage in our medical room, which is bizarre. But it's just one of them where we've just got no natural wingers at the minute. We're playing centre midfielders out wide. We've even been playing centre midfielder in full back. It's just we need to sort it out. And it's weird that we keep trying to sign strikers or attacking midfielders when we need a winger and a left back. It's just quite bizarre. But I'm not entirely sure how our transfer recruitment's working this month because we just seem to be worse off now than we were at the beginning of the month. So it's pretty bizarre.
At least you've got Fabio Carvalho and beat Leeds to that signature.
Yeah, we've got that announcement video.
Yeah, exactly, man. This is what I'm saying. It's all fun and thing, isn't it? But then at the end of the window, you'd be like, well, was it really that worth it? Anyway, It is what it is. Cossey, will come to you next. Obviously, you were saying earlier, away at Blackburn aren't in a great run either. That if you were to lose this, Darren Moore gets sacked. Do you think you will lose it? Are you worried about the game?
Wow, what a game. Two teams totally out of sorts. I think they've lost 7 out of the last 9, Blackburn.
Yeah, not great.
Joe, that's the only game we've won recently. And to be honest, mate, the game on Boxing Day when we beat them, they were easily the worst side I've seen all season. They were absolutely in a mess. And I think the problem they've got there is like John Dow Thomason's a club legend, as a player. So it's like no one's really turning on him. And I did a podcast with some of the Blackburn guys for the game on Boxing Day. And it was really interesting because like they were saying that the Venn kids is like ready to spend big, but it's like they've kind of got no one really who understands kind of football or players to bring in, and I think they've sorted it now. But just having a look kind of the other day, I think Sam Gallagher's been linked with a move out of there, but I think they were looking at Kiefer Moore, but I think a few are out there, but I think they're put off with his.
They got rid of the captain to Ipswich as well, I swear. Which is wild.
Oh, Joe, honestly, mate, last week we sat here, Plymouth, they haven't won an away game. They're there for the taking, blah, blah. And, proud that we were one behind already, early doors. And then, Morgan Whitaker. And then, we petered out for us. But this is a game we've got to win, mate. We can't. Honestly, it's incredible. The next game after that is Queen's Park Rangers away, which is absolutely monumental. And then Sheffield Wednesday at home, enough said. And then after that, mate, close your eyes. Actually, it's Southampton away then. So, I think we can forget about anything there. Sheffield Wednesday. And then after that, it gets so complicated. So, mate, we've got to be taking, I thought, 7 points at least out of these 4 games. We've only got 1. So I think we've got to be winning this game. But will we win it? Again, this isn't frustrating with Dan. You watch your press conference tomorrow, who's fit, who's available, blah, 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 blah. We'll have to see. You won't know. And some people say, well, that's good management, just keeps his class close to his chest. So asking me now whether we've got a chance, it all depends, mate. With Radelovic is not fit, mate. Who goes up front? The problem is you're playing like Sorba Thomas as a front man. The only good thing is with Thomas, he had this outstanding game against Blackburn on Boxing Day, and obviously went on loan there for the second half of the season. There was a bit of a fallout with Thomas, and I think he said he was lazy or something like that. So he was revved up. He's been our best player all season. He's come back really good. So I think he'll have a point to prove there. He's £20 in, Joe, and they've only sold 1,500 tickets. I got mine today, and you've only got 2,000. That tells you about where we are at the moment and stuff. I know we took 6,500 Man City, but that a day out, and obviously Pep and all that lot. But really, we should be taking more than that there. But just the people are just out of love with Huddersfield Town, and Darren Moore especially, mate. But yeah, I think we've got to win. Will we? I just wish it were 2:00, mate. I could tell you our, the team news and stuff like that as well. But if we go with what we got last week, mate, I'm not so sure. But honestly, Blackburn, look at their form. It's incredible. 7 out of the last 9. They beat, I think, Cambridge in the cup. That was it. But Bristol City at home, and then everything else, it's just been abysmal. But we've got to win, mate. I honestly think a defeat could, even though he's nailed his colours to the mast. He did an interview with Radio Leeds, Kevin Nigel, last week when he was in the studio. But there's only so... I've just got to the stage now, Joe, where I can't help but thinking that we've more chance of staying up with a change than with him if we lose. And Paul Eckenbottom has been mentioned, but obviously it's going to be. And someone who reckons he knows him reckons he'd come in and take the job. Part of me wonders, does he think his stock's high or whatever? But obviously might look at what we're bringing in. But Moore's had a bad undercard, but they've got to deliver, mate, and ponderous tactics and let's just wait and see what happens and stuff. We've got to throw the kitchen sink at Blackburn, mate. And obviously, they won't be asked to come to the game. It's cold. They're out of love with the team. So there's not going to be a great Blackburn following. They'll be groaning and moaning and stuff. But get at them early. Don't go behind like we did last week, mate. It's a tough call is this, mate. I'm going to say we're going to win, mate. Radovic is fit and he scores, and we win 2-1. But, mate, if they in, it's embarrassing, mate. Championship club, all right, we might sign the guy from Watford, but you can't go any games without a striker. It's ridiculous, though, mate. Rhodes is at Blackpool. Keane Allen's a young lad, but he's injured, and he's just playing wing as a striker. Karoma's not a striker, mate. He's a wide man, but we'll get what we deserve if we go down. The signings are coming, but I just can't help thinking this is a must-win for Darren Moore and Huddersfield Town, and I think we might do it, mate. 2-1.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go 1-0 Huddersfield, and Sorba Thomas scores just based on what you said, just plucking it out of the air there. Matt, how do you see this one going?
I think obviously Blackburn are there for the taking. We were beaten. We drew twice to Blackburn, and we should have beaten both times. Massively unimpressed.
Unbeaten into where?
Unbeaten.
Good hell.
Smodix is obviously brilliant, and he's a little rat. He gets absolutely everywhere. So if you can stop him, then you stop Blackburn. It's as simple as that, really. So I'm going to go copy you, Joe. 1-0 Huddersfield.
Nice. What do you think, Ant?
Yeah, I mean Blackburn. I think they've got the worst defensive record in the league at the minute. Their defense is absolutely calamitous, and the goalkeeper's not much better.
Worse than them, to be fair.
Yeah. They've got threat going forwards, like they say, but it's just the Blackburn are a weird team because. If like you say, if you nullify Smodix, you kind of nullify Blackburn. But do Huddersfield have the players to nullify Smodix? Is what I'm looking at. But no, I can't see it being a very entertaining game. I think there'll be goals in it, but I think it'll just be a bit of a boring 1-1. To be fair, I think both clubs are just kind of it's that low morale derby, innit? It's our club's worse than yours in the stadium. Yeah.
Low morale
I'll go for a
derby.
1-1.
Low morale derby. You should get a job for Sky Sports, mate.
Barn will be after me.
Matt, let's come to you. Tough away fixture, Middlesbrough. They've made some good signings of late. Finn Azaz obviously picking him up, which I think is a great pickup for a cheap price. Luke Ayling has gone there, and I've got a few mates who are season ticket holders at Borough, and they said he played really well. So, and I think they're going to do some more bits as well. So, I don't want to speak for you, but I'm not confident for you going into this one away at the Riverside, mate. How do you feel?
Yeah, I've learned not to be positive when we go away from home. I think we're up to 30 away games without a win now. So the count goes on.
Wow. 30, that's a lot, isn't it? That's a lot of games.
Yeah, it's mad.
Big up to your away fans that are going to these games week in, week out, mate. You have to give them props to them.
100% unsurprised. Those numbers have dropped as well. You won't be surprised. Same Costa says with Huddersfield, people are just sort of, what's the point now? But then it's going to turn around at some point. We're probably going to win, between now and the end of the season. So it's going to end. The good thing for us is that they play Chelsea next week, don't they, in the second leg?
True.
So hopefully
they've got loads of injuries as well, haven't they, Matt? So.
Yeah, exactly. We played them on Boxing Day and we won 1-0, and we should have won 1-0. They were miles better team. We scored a fluky goal. So if we're going to win, it's going to be a similar sort of situation. If they don't take their chances and they keep us in the game, we're always in it. But you just can't back Rotherham at the minute. Certainly not away from home. You just can't back us. So yeah, it'll be 2-0 Middlesbrough, something like that. You just can't. You just can't. There's no reason to be positive, especially away from home at the minute. But yeah.
It's brutal, isn't it? 30 away games, Cossey. Do you give Rotherham any chance at the Riverside?
There's just the Middlesbrough's injury. That's like you said, Joe. It's pretty horrific, isn't it? And that as well. And you know, like you say, Matt, there, you obviously got the game next week, but I don't think you can really, mate. But I don't think it'll be a mauling. I think it'll be something like it might even just be 1-0 really as well. But honestly, it's really weird coming on it because like you think you've got problems. Obviously, Wednesday when we were like September, October, they were in the mess, and obviously now they're in a bit of it. But wow, and to think you have won that in that many away games. Obviously, I think we've won. One, is it? 2, 1? Not many of, but yeah, no, I think Middlesbrough will be glad, for this fixture really and that as well. And I think they'll get it done. But I only think it'll be 1-0.
Yeah. We have tightened up loads. We don't concede as many as we did under Matt Taylor, so it will be relatively close. It won't be a battering, I don't think. I hope.
You say that, mate. I was gonna go for something a little bit wild, but. No, 2-0 Middlesbrough, I think. And what do you reckon?
Borough, I think, because like we said, they've got the Chelsea game coming up soon after. They might go for the whole let's get the game done in the first 45 so we can take it easy in the second half kind of approach. So going with that logic, I'm going to say it's a Borough win, but a low score. I think it'll be 1-0 Borough. And then Tom Eaves will hit the crossbar. Super Tom Eaves. You'll go close.
Yeah.
I listened to the Rotherham game in the who did they play? Was it Blackburn? You do 2-2.
Yeah.
I was listening to that game in the car on the way back on the motorway, and I cheered like he was my player when Tom Eaves scored.
He's got the second best goals to minutes ratio in the Championship at the minute, Tom Eaves.
It's mad. He's legend. Love him.
He's got the best hair in the Championships. I'm only jealous though.
Beautiful
hair.
Sheff Wednesday play Coventry. I think they'll struggle there. We'll just gloss over that one with no Ash tonight. But Leeds United, 3 wins on the spin, all 3-0 apiece. It's been a perfect start to the year. We play Preston, who, to be fair, beat us recently away from home. Liam Miller. Decent goal, to be fair, and gave Archie Gray a bit of a tough time, to be honest.
As soon as you hit it, Joe, you knew it were in, didn't you?
Yeah.
As soon as he left his foot, mate, we're in.
Yeah, but I think Archie will keep his place at right back, and I think he'll do a bit of a job on him. I think he'll lock him up, and we won't see much from him. So I don't think Preston will see much of the ball. I think Leeds United are too good at home. We're still unbeaten at home, and I don't think it's out of the. I don't think it's too overconfident to say that we beat them 3-0. I think we're ticking over now. Bamford's found form. He's now playing in the 9. Rutter's playing in the 10. And Rutter's just amazing. Somerville's amazing. So, yeah, I think it's a comfortable 3-0 win against Preston. A little bit of retribution for that loss over Christmas, I think. Cossie, I'm going to come to you because you were the one who predicted a 1-1. I can't remember where it was now, but you always. So
I know. I seem to predict Leeds games well. It's like if you followed me, you could win some money.
That's
you know what,
I mean.
they're a funny team, aren't they, Preston? Because like, yeah, Leeds should win and stuff, but I think it is one of them that it's. They could do it. Obviously, they're going to be filled with a bit of confidence what they did over to you on Christmas, and I know, kind of things went right from that day. But yeah, and obviously you should win. But you know what, Joe? It's feeling like someone's going to end up with a ridiculous points haul and be third out there in that division, maybe fourth, and then you always get that like psychological thing, don't you, in the place where part of you thinks, God, you've got all them points, you didn't get in, but part of me thinks, well, hang on a minute, we've got more. You might have like 20 more. You might have easily 20 more points more than the 6th team who you play in the playoffs, or say it could be, Ipswich or whoever it is, and you just, naturally you think, oh God, it's just not going to be so slow that we buggered it up, but you can't. You just got to chuck back your ability, haven't you, in that as well. To me, this game is, I think. Is your Norwich game off, Joey? I think it is for the. Oh no, you're winning.
It's been moved to midweek. We play Norwich midweek now.
Ah, right. Okay, so that
we play Wednesday, and then we've got the FA Cup on the Saturday.
I think that's a smart move from the club, that mate. Just to get them that home game in before the cup game, because then, God, you got an home joint cup. I bet you could. Did you go to Pinderfields or what, mate? Were you a bit?
I think it was like the 14th time of trying. Someone said you were more likely to you were more likely to get struck by lightning in America than you were to get 14 away cup ties on the spin. So, yeah. Finally,
I know you're glad you're at home, but it's the most unsexy home game there's ever been picked out, because I always think it could, mate. You don't want to put. I'd rather always be away because I like an away day, and I always think don't join your own division. Never mind rules in the cup, but not that Matt's going to say we're always out.
We have to play Birmingham 4 times this season.
I was going to say
4 times we have to play Birmingham this season, and then Leicester was the reward if you got through in the. No wonder Rosini played the kids in the second leg. What's the point? Magic of the cup and all that. We just play the same teams.
See, we're looking at the home tie against Plymouth thinking we'll beat them, so we're going to be in 5th round. We're like, oh, nosebleed time, nosebleed. It's mad for us. So
I think in this game, though, Joe, it's just about your attitude, mate. I think it's like most of the games with Leeds. If Leeds play well, then forget the rest. You know what I mean? And I think you win 2-0, but I think it'll be. They'll get that stuck in. Will press them round low. You don't get his team just lying down, do you? And that as well. They get stuck in, but. Yeah, and I think obviously you'll be, Fark will be saying, look, remember what happened on, Boxing Day, wasn't it? Yeah, well, Boxing Day.
Something like that. Yeah.
They're damaging Christmas for you, wasn't it? But you've come back firing, mate, and that as well. But it should be all right. But I just think it's hard for us to imagine, especially being asked like just watching pretty much hardly ever winning. I think won 5 games all season. But, when you're just going, obviously last year it was different for you, Joe, like losing most of your games. But it must be weird, like going to games just thinking you're going to win. Obviously, I'm trying to jog my mind back. It was only 2 years ago when Corbyn had us on.
The atmosphere is not great at Ellen Road, though. You can see that, and people are saying that. Do you know what I mean?
It's not just because the pressure of the other teams, Joe, that are doing it. Because I bet it's one of those. If you looked on any other season, with the points you've got now, you'd be in that top 2. But obviously, Ipswich and Southampton have been pretty incredible, really. So, do you think that's one of the reasons, really, or is it more the league table dictating? Fans thinking, bloody hell, they've won again. So it's almost like, don't matter that we've won, that they haven't lost or whatever. Is it that, or is it just more than that?
I think it's just a sense of expectancy because we've got a lot of the ball as well. So it's like we'll score eventually. There don't seem to be any jeopardy. Do you know what I mean? Because jeopardy is massive in football ties. Going into it thinking, you've got to win this, you've got to do this. Whereas I think, genuinely, 95% of fans will go into that game on Saturday think, we'll beat them. This is going to be an easy 3 points. And then you naturally can be just like, it's just a matter of time before we get in front. I think it's that. I may be wrong, but I think I am confident going into this one. And I'm also confident that Southampton and Ipswich might drop points this weekend. I know Southampton are away at Swansea and then Ipswich play Leicester at Leicester. So I'm hoping that Leicester.
What are teams doing, Joyce? Is there anyone that's had a go at you, or don't include our shambolic effort? Has anyone come to Ellen Road and you're thinking, bloody hell, or does everyone just would it be suicide to do that?
Because Ipswich have done that on both occasions and we've scored 8 goals against them.
Yeah, of course. I watched that. Yeah, of course.
If you come and have a go at Leeds, you leave too much space for us to play, and the best way to beat us is to just sit in and nullify us. I
think mentality wise, a lot of that, a lot of form and things, because I think people overthink like how players go into a game in their mindset a lot of the time. So because Leeds are unbeaten at home for so long, naturally now the manager is setting them up to set up defensively and try and sort of damage limitation rather than going there and having a go, because I think Leeds leave a lot of space because the attack with so many players.
Yeah. Leeds
want you to try and obviously come at them to exploit that space. But in the other, if you flip that coin, it's also the biggest weakness because you have got space to exploit if you can do it and if you've got the players. So I think teams are just going to Ellen Road and just sort of accepting defeat rather than going there and having a go. It's the same with like Rotherham that haven't won away. Your lads are going into away games and thinking we've just got to try and get a point out of this rather than going for a win. Do you know what I mean? It's hard for players to gear themselves up properly, I think.
Yeah. I do think Patrick Bamford being in the 9 has changed us astronomically, because even against low blocks, you can see still images of him dragging centre-backs out of position, whereas because of his movement and that, whereas before Rutter and Pirro, they were both a bit too static when the ball was being played up to him. So therefore, if a centre-back's just got players in front of him, it's a piece of piss for him, innit? Whereas Bamford's constantly moving, which means we're now finding space for others. So, and Bamford's got 3 and 3, so he scores in bunches, he scores in streaks. Hopefully he continues it. But just having him as a presence up there has improved us massively. As I say, I think 3-0. Cossie, give me your score prediction.
Just 2-0, Joe. 2-0, mate.
2-0. We'll take that. What about you, Matt?
Same as Cossie, 2-0. They'll be relatively comfortable, I think.
Yeah, and Ant?
Yeah, I'm going to go for a 3-0 Leeds win. Preston have never convinced me. I just don't think they even when they were up there, you just thought, it was the elephant on the top of the tree kind of thing. It's going to come down at some point.
Joe, what do you think of what do you think of the standard in the championship? I know it's the discussion every other year, innit? And I love that. You know what I was saying, like there's 3 points between 13th and 6th and stuff like that as well. But I suppose you only sometimes have eyes on your own team. But when you watch some of these other games, and I watched that Wednesday and all games. Sorry to bring it up. Obviously, they're sending off and ridiculous and stuff. But it's just like, I don't know. For me, it's just a refreshing league. Ours. It's just like, I'm glad we don't have VAR. It is so good, isn't it? In our league, when someone scores, it's going to be, unless Eliza's got his flag up. But it just feels so good. It just feels a lot different to Premier League in a better kind of way. And I don't think the quality is anything to write home about. But I do like the fact that this year you could have a fascinating, promotion battle. Relegation, Rotherham don't kind of start winning quick, but I think that could go down to the wire this year, and that playoff battle as well. But it's just what you want in football, I think. Is that in it? Where I suppose Premier League is looking interesting as well this year. But I don't know. I'm a big Championship fan, and I'm here Huddersfield people. It'd be disastrous to leave that division for me for Huddersfield. And I know, well, it might be one year where we'll just get with dice. We've definitely thought it might be our year to go, but I would never want to leave it, mate. I love it. You've got decent, stadiums to go, or you've got, Matt, you'll be saying Rotherham and go down, but I don't know. It's always. I know we don't win many, but I won't want to leave it. Does that make sense? I know you don't want to go down, but
for me, I always hear people say that the quality of the Championship this season is poor, because everyone's so close. And I actually think it's the other way. I think that the top 4 seemingly in like a league of their own, but that's because they're relatively Premier League quality teams that are in the Championship. And then you look outside of that from like 5th down to about 15th, 16th. If the majority of the league are beating each other consistently enough to keep such a short amount of points between, a playoff place and mid-table obscurity, then that to me says that all the teams are of similar standard. And it's got to a point where everyone now is competitive enough to be like, we could get promoted to the Premier League this season. I think it's harder for teams like Rotherham, who have got such smaller budgets, to come up. And I mean, you can see how much they're struggling this season when you look at this league and the sort of spending power and pulling power that some clubs have got now with transfers and things like that. It's harder to now come up to the Championship from the League One and stay up. Obviously, Ipswich excluded because they've just somehow just rode this wave of momentum to the top two. But that seems to be an anomaly in that sense. And,
I just think I said at the start of the season, but 9 on your bench, 5 subs. I think that's such a I said I feared for like Huddersfield because, and it's been proven now. Darren Moore, it's like got kids. We've got about 5 B team guys. You don't bring them on. We've had short benches and stuff like that as well. And I'm going to blow me on trumpet your bollocks because I remember I just thought at the start of the season that were going to be a massive difference because you're getting a lot of managers now who are brave enough to like making subs after 30 minutes. Making 5 subs. You've got a big choice, and honestly, obviously I know Bamford's starting now, but it was making me laugh at like for half of about quarter of your season, he's like a sub, and it's just like I was just thinking how many. You look at some of these squads, Southampton's, I know the top 4, but even some of the like middle table team, I'm thinking bloody hell, they'll start in our team. It's the bench is massive, mate, because the number of games this year, like when we lost to Middlesbrough, we were the better side for 70 minutes. We ran out of steam, but there's no one to bring on, and I just think that's having a big effect on the season. I think that at the end of the season, your better benches and stuff. Yeah, you'll probably get someone in there. It's like, wow, I didn't expect them to be in. But by and large, if you've got like 3 or 4 that can make you need guys to make a difference off the bench. I know it's an obvious thing because I hear it like, well, why is not more putting a young lad on? But what's the point if he's not going to make a difference? People say, well, he's making a message to the chairman, but that it does annoy me. It's amazing to think for it. 30 years ago, you had 1 sub, didn't you?
It's mad.
Just mad.
But it's mad how quick things change in football, because it was only a couple of weeks ago I was saying to Matt and to Ash about, would you take Bamford? I said that, would you take Bamford? And now I wouldn't drop him. Do you know what I mean? So it's quick. It's mad how quick. Just on the standard, mate. I mean, I'm not saying, because obviously Leeds have only been in the Premier League 3 seasons, but like say, we played Cardiff on the weekend, and genuinely they were, apart from Huddersfield when they came to Welham Road, they were but Wayne Rooney Birmingham side, they were arguably the worst team we've faced. They were rubbish, and then you look at the table and they were 9th and they were in good
they're
form,
on a good run.
like,
I don't know.
This is the thing. I don't know if it's because, and look, at the end of the day, like you've said, we've got Wilfred Becking Nonto on our bench. We've got Jadon Hansen on our bench. They can't get games.
Joking, isn't it?
So yeah, it is.
Cheat
like
mode,
it is,
mate. Cheat mode.
Yeah.
It's a good point, that, Joe, because you're maybe not seeing it like we are, because you're like smashing on most teams, especially at home, and it's like I mean, we were really poor, but it's almost like I don't know if you watched everyone else for a month and stuff, you can maybe make that kind of judgment. But I like the fact, mate, like that Sunderland don't get money. You don't know who's going to win. Where you could say Premier League this year, it's a bit. Sometimes I don't know, West Ham are getting some against Arsenal, but by and large, I think you know what's going to happen. Where I like the fact that you just don't know in our division and stuff, Pat. And that Preston Leeds one was what a random as anything, wasn't it? And it could cost you massively that. And then Southampton and on this, there's some good individual stories, mate. I think it's just so good that we've got this division that's you just don't want like someone to be detached. Like we were like praising we were doing what Rotherham did last year, and then Sir Colin Warnock rocked up and it all changed. But there's nothing worse than when it gets to March and you just feel you're doomed, or might even be Feb. I feel for you, man.
This is probably a great shout by 4B. The route to the Premier League is actually better than being in the Premier League. It's probably true. Do you know what I mean? The journey, because we had so long out of it. We got there and we did finish 9th, to be fair, first season. But then after that, it was just fucking horrible. Do you know what I mean?
I was listening to a Crystal Palace fan on TalkSport yesterday, and it made me think and realise as well. So whoever it was, I think it was Gabby Bonlahor was talking to him, and he was saying, I don't understand why Palace fans would be enjoying being in the Premier League at the minute. All they do is finish between 11th and 14th every season. They go out of every cup. They're not in a relegation battle, and they're not going to finish in Europe. Every single season, they just exist in the Premier League and make up the numbers. And it's like, if we were to get up to the Premier League, is that realistically what you'd end up doing? Rather than obviously with the Championship, I'd rather be a yo-yo club. I think that bounced up and down. I mean, like Burnley, Norwich, all these kind of teams, West Brom, they bounce up and down all the time, because at least you've got something to support and look forward to. I mean, obviously you've got the hurt of relegation, which you never want to see your club do. But unless you are well run like you Brighton, that can go up there and upset the apple cart and genuinely make good enough signings to compete at the top end, the Premier League's pointless, isn't it? Outside the top 6.
It's like that Sheffield
right.
United. Sheffield United, you knew last year they were, boosted by them loan players. And again, I suppose, we're on about the bench. The loans are massive in this division. I mean, like, we've just managed to get one from Chelsea. Hopefully it's good for us. Maybe we can get another one in. But I think if you're savvy with your loans, it's almost like that inflated thing. You can go up 3 or 4 good loans, get you there. Like Middlesbrough, obviously, last year, that had a massive impact on them. But if you don't get it right the year after with your loans and stuff like we are, it's like, it's massive that. But it's almost like, I don't know, is it almost like riding a bike with like stabilizers, It's almost like, you're still traveling, but it's a bit of a cheat, isn't it, really? So when you take them off and lose your own players, you crash. But I don't know, it's Sheffield United.
It doesn't always work out. I mean, look at what's happened to Forest, mate. Like, they got up and, I mean, some of the stories, I don't know if you read some of them or heard some of them, they're fucking insane, man. And he was always mad. Forest have had madcap owners for a long time, actually, to be fair.
Yeah. You won't get me crying for them, Joe. I'm not crying for them.
No. I get that, mate. That's what I mean. And Everton might be down yet. Do you know what I mean? We don't know if they get another deduction.
You know what? Their fans are unbelievable. I know they're picking on them, but as soon as I heard it with them with Forest, I thought, Jesus, banners are going to be out at Goodison. Last night they were all back out on there. It's always Everton. It's what about Man City and stuff. Honestly, it's a crazy game, isn't it? You keep forgetting it's like meant to be a like release and a bit of fun, but it's just beyond me half of this stuff. These YouTubers that are on the Sky Sports News now, where back in the day were like your ex-players. They talk like they know everything. It's just like, how are you on about, man? But then, Joe, you should be on Joe, mate.
I was going to say, man, that's the dream, isn't it? You see me and be like, who's this clown? And I'm like going, yeah.
Sat there in the halftime studio with David Prutton.
Yeah. No, I wish, man, I wish. But I hear what you're saying, I do. But I was listening to the podcast with Gary Neville, Roy Keane, Jamie Carragher, Ian Wright. Brilliant, man. And I was listening to that today on my dog walk, and I didn't know this, but Jamie Carragher was saying that 777 who were looking to take over Everton, who were crazy, by the way, they're already funding that club 20 million a month to keep it running, and they're not even owners yet properly, not ratified. So you just think, and Isaac Hayden, one of his reasons for returning from Standard Liège was because he wasn't being paid, and that's one of their clubs. Do you know what I mean? So it's like Everton, and it's not going to be good. All the clubs they've got, 'cause it's like a multi-club ownership, they're all either being relegated or whatever. So Everton, I don't know. It's not looking good for them. And then I think they've got this stadium and all that. It's like, I feel sorry for them, but at the same time, they've cheated to stay up. If they didn't cheat, they might have gone down, and we might still be in Prem. So get it up, Do you know what I mean? That's what it is. But yeah, anyway, we'll leave it there. Listen, we've had some great numbers tonight, close to 300 people watching live, which is amazing. So thank you for that. I've put everyone's channels in the description as well, so make sure you check them out and smash a like on your way out. I'll be back at like 9 o'clock tonight for a scouting report. We're looking at centre backs, and we'll leave it there. So thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you next week.
Take care.
Bye.
See ya.
See you later, guys.